that wants to just say something before we invite our guests this evening? Or let me put it this way, if you could choose maybe three green flags or red flags in a future spouse, what would it be and why? If you would choose three, let's go with three green flags. You can drop it in the comment section. If you would choose three green flags in a future spouse, what will it be? And for those of us that are married already, what are the things that you've observed that you would have done better in choosing a future spouse, or what you would have done better currently? What are the three green flags or red flags you would have put into consideration in choosing a future spouse? Anyone? What are the things you will consider when choosing a future spouse? What are the things you will consider? Can you share with us? If you want to unmute your mic or you want to drop it in the chat section. Okay, marriage is God's idea. Three green flags: he must be God-fearing, must have good character, and teachable. Thank you very much, Adekweju. Adekweju says three green flags would be that the future spouse is God-fearing, must have good character, and the person must be teachable. Yeah, thank you very much. Any other one? Three green flags. We all know that marriage is too important to choose with butterflies alone, right? So there are some things we must look out for. All right. Femi Adedoyin says consistency, mentorship, and teachability. Yes, thank you very much. Consistency, mentorship, teachability. So that person must be consistent in his character, I believe. That person must be submissive. They must have someone they are submitted to, and of course must have a teachable spirit. Yes, thank you very much. So with all of these things, it's important for us to know that marriage is too important to just choose butterflies alone. So butterflies alone will not do it. All right, thank you, PC. I guess the name is not there. I can only see PC here. It says the green flags are being kind. The person must be kind. The person must be teachable. The person must be God-fearing. Wow. So we are almost saying the same thing here: God-fearing, kind, teachable. Wow, very interesting. Thank you very much for that contribution. Thank you so much. All right, I believe that's why we are here. We are here to learn. You know, growth is only possible when we are willing to question what is not working and embrace what works. And that is why we are here this evening, to learn more, you know, to talk about those things that we really want to express. Probably we are finding it difficult to express ourselves, but this is a platform where we can do that. And I believe you've submitted your questions. We are going to be dealing with that with our special guests this evening. All right, I think we can start now. So before I invite, okay, so with me, I have the Boros and the Femi Adedoyins tonight. And we are going to be learning from their wealth of knowledge this evening. And before I bring them up, I would like to read their profile. So I'll start with the Femi Adedoyins. All right. Are we ready? Let me see your emojis. If you are ready for tonight's meeting, the show is about to start. And I'm super excited because there's so much to learn this evening. We are here to learn. Yes, yes. Thank you very much. All right, so Matthew and Fidelia Femi Adedoyin's profile. Matthew and Fidelia Femi Adedoyin are passionate family life practitioners. Together, they led Researched Mind Company, a coaching, counseling, therapy, and training firm committed to illuminating lives and guiding individuals and families into a place of clarity, healing, and newness. Matthew is a master practitioner of NLP, trainer of neurocognitive consonance, and one of Africa's leading addiction and sex recovery therapists. Fidelia, a certified counselor and character reformation coach, is dedicated to helping people develop healthy character traits and grow in emotional awareness. They are both proud parents of Purity Femi Adedoyin. So with a resounding ovation, can we please welcome Matthew, Fidelia, Femi Adedoyin? You're welcome. All right, so the second guest with us tonight, this evening, let me read your profile. The Buoros. Femi and Odufa Buoro are the founders of Thrive Family Network, a family life ministry dedicated to helping families and individuals build thriving, meaningful relationships. Femi, an engineer by profession, is passionate about mentoring men and couples to overcome everyday leadership and relational challenges. Odufa, a business administration graduate and a certified family life practitioner, specializes in couples reconciliation, premarital counseling, singles mentoring in personal growth and emotional well-being. Through Thrive Family Network, Femi and Odufa combined their unique perspectives to guide individuals, couples, and families using practical strategies that inspire deeper connections, effective communication, and stronger family bonds. Their balanced and relatable approach ensures that families receive well-rounded support. Femi and Odufa have been married for 14 years and are blessed with 2 children. All right, so with a wonderful ovation, let's welcome the Buoros. You're welcome. So let's have you. Can we have the Buoros and Femi Adedoyin? Can you please unmute your mic? I don't know if you can do that. Yes.
Hello.
All right.
Good evening.
Hi, good
You're
evening,
welcome.
everyone.
Thank you for joining. So good to have you here. I think you can unmute your mic.
Good evening.
Good evening, everyone.
All right. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Femi is saying
Okay,
he's
so I have a
unable to
couple of
unmute.
questions here that I'm going to be asking so that you can help us shed more light on them. All right, so the first question here says, how do you choose the right person among many possible options? Okay, admin, can you please unmute them? I'm unable to, okay. Admin, please, can you please unmute?
All right, good evening. Good evening, ma'am.
Admin, can you please help
I think
unmute our guest?
can anyone hear me?
Yeah, I've been unmuted. Can you hear me?
Okay, we can hear you.
All right.
All right, so thank you very much. So the first question says, how do I choose the right person among many possible suitors? Mrs. Boro, I think you can answer that.
All right, thank you very much for that question. I'm glad that question was thrown at me. because I always love to engage singles and help them and create a lot of awareness about what they want out of their relationship. So if you're asking how to choose the right person among possible options, it sounds cliche, but you have to be the right person to be able to choose the right person in terms of the fact that you know your values, you know your vision, where you're heading, you know yourself. In entirety, you're self-aware enough to know who you need to go on your journey with you, because marriage is a journey, it's a long life journey. And it's something that you want to do with someone that can help you achieve your personal purpose and a collective purpose as a family. So if you want to choose among all the possible options, and I thank God for that person that will have plenty options to choose from, you want to choose based on your values, your beliefs, your compatibility, your chemistry, your ability to connect emotionally, your ability to connect spiritually, mentally, intellectually, and in so many ways. You want to be able to gauge how well both of you will be, not just that both of you are good people, but how well both of you can blend as a team into partnership, because that's what marriage is teamwork. So there can be two good people, but they don't know how to blend in as a team to build the kind of family that they would want, a blissful family, of course. So to choose the right person is based on your own value system, your beliefs, and everything that you know about yourself makes it easier for you to be able to pick from your different options based on how their values, their beliefs, and everything, how it aligns to yours and your ability to partner with them on the long run. Yeah.
Thank you so much. But then I'm just trying to like maybe expand this question for the person that have asked. What if, it's easy to differentiate between, okay, we don't share the same values, we are not on the same page. Or let me just put it this way, it's easy to differentiate between good and bad. What about good and godly? Like it's so close, you have so many people, so many suitors around that looks like we are compatible. How will that person actually be able to choose?
Me, right? I should still answer, right? Okay, so if you have people that, and I understand what you mean, so all the options look good,
Yes.
right? So it makes it more difficult for you. So you have to choose which one is, there has to be somebody that is the most, because there has to be somebody that is the most suitable for you as a person. And of course, as a person of faith, I always like to advise that you pray about it. I'm a person of faith, so I believe that you bring your spirituality to the forefront and you pray about it so that you can be able to make, the best possible choice, by discerning who you feel goes the long way. My husband will always say, he's here, he will always say that before he got married, if he meets someone, he would look into the future to see how far the person can go with him on that journey before he would decide whether he wants to go into a relationship with that person. So it's not a question of having so many right people or good people around you. It's a question of who is most suitable, who is the most suitable. And if you go with all your evaluations about your beliefs and also checking the fruit of their character, not just because they say they are good or because they say they are godly, but you want to check the fruit of their character, right? In how do they handle pressure? How do they handle decision making? How do they make their choices? How do they relate to the people around them? Those are all the things you want to be able to evaluate to be sure that they are the most suitable for you on the journey you are going to. And that's why I always go back to self-awareness, because when you know yourself, you are able to actually choose or make a decision as to who is most suitable to go on that journey with you. And so you want to have a lot of conversations. Let's say maybe you're in talking stage with all of them. You want to have a lot of conversations that will help you evaluate their perspective, perception, and persuasion about a lot of things as compared to your own perspective, your own persuasion, and your own personal, beliefs and all of that. So you want to have a lot of intentional conversations and be as attentive as possible. You want to also check their history, where they are coming from and also where they are heading to see if it aligns you. So at the end of the day, you will definitely, if you evaluate based on your beliefs, your principles, your values, and everything, you will definitely be able to pick the one that is the most suitable. And above all, pray.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mrs. Borum, for that. All right. So I'll move on to the next question. The person says, is chatting with female friends right? for the man who is about to get married? And of course, that question goes to Mr. Fem.
Okay,
He's
is that
chatting with female
Feniboro?
friends, right? For the man who is about to get married.
Okay, is that to me, Feniboro? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, good. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. It's so great to be in your midst today, and just amazing hearing my wife speak. Just amazing. So just to dial back a bit to the first question, if you permit me. Yeah, what she was saying simply was you know what you need, right? There's a difference between what you want and what you need, and you discover that what you need is amongst the things you actually want. So actually understand what you need, okay? If you had to choose between godly and good, I would say that what is godly is good, but not all things that are good are godly, right? So you want to identify exactly what you need and tell yourself the truth. I always tell myself the truth. Why do I actually want to be with this person rather than the other person? And telling myself the truth landed me with my amazing wife of going on 15 years. Okay. Now, to your question, right? It depends on context, right? Chatting a lady, while you're preparing to get married, it depends on the context. Okay. Generally, ladies are not, and females are not okay with that, right? So, is it you're chatting with somebody that you're in the same workspace? If you are in the same workspace, okay, and there is nothing to hide about your conversation, you have to be open to say, this is who I'm chatting with. But when it becomes secretive, when you try to be sneaky about it, it becomes a problem, okay? And you have to put the overall health of your relationship first. There are compromises to be made. Is this going to enhance my relationship? Right? If communicating with a female, chatting with a female that you are not emotionally connected with is going to affect your relationship, what is so difficult to give it up? But if it is necessary, I mean, it's a necessary conversation you need to have. This person is essential, maybe to your business, maybe to your career, maybe to your education, then there's no way you cannot bring your partner into that fold of relationship. Because after all, the two of you are becoming one, which is a process, right? So for me, it depends on the context. And also, the lady must show a level of maturity and not out of insecurity, right? So if a lady is insecure, it becomes a problem when she's seeing a partner shout it to another lady. But in the aspect of you showing a level of confidence, okay, you should approach it differently to say, what value is this chat bringing to you? And what value is this chat bringing to our relationship? Okay. And if you have to choose, if you ever have to choose, you're in that space where you have to choose, I think you should put your relationship first. Okay. Because you have to find out what value is this adding to me. And anybody you are chatting with that is not interested in bringing your partner into that fold, then please, it's not worth it. Anybody you are chatting with that you have to do it secretively, then it's not worth it. So our advice, personally for me, right, at the point where I zeroed in that this is the woman I'm going to get married to, I had to start being careful with other female relationships around me. Okay, females that are around me and relationships, because things can just, you think you're in control until you lose control. Okay, so you want to be able to keep your relationship sane. Okay, and whoever is coming, being a part of your life, must be able to be comfortable in that space with your partner. But if it has to be exclusive, there's no more exclusivity again. Okay, so the person has to come in. So I advise every man, if it's not a relationship that is necessary, please give it up for the sake of your partner. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. I'm sure the person that asked the question would have gotten the response to that. All right, so the third question says, I feel like when I'm with my partner, it's always like he's far from me, even though he's sitting next to me. He would prefer to be on his phone watching reels than chatting with me. I know he loves me, I'm sure of that, but then this makes me worry. It will definitely feel lonely when we get married. I don't know if there's anything or something I should do. And that question will go to Mrs. Femi Adedoyi. Can you please respond to that?
Okay, thank you so much. I've just been nodding because the insights have been amazing so far. So, to this question, right? I think it is a current challenge that we are facing in this generation. That is dealing with social media as a family. It's a huge influence on the family. So you could enter into a house and you see the father is pressing his phone, the mother is pressing her phone, scrolling, and the child is on their tab, you know. So it's something that needs to be handled with intentionality. If you are not intentional in the first place, there's no way you can build a thriving home. So whatever the issue is that arises in a relationship that should be leading to marriage, it has to be addressed. So for me, what I would advise that person is have a conversation with your spouse, especially since you are sure that they love you. It means they'll be willing to have that conversation with you. So have a conversation with your spouse. If you haven't been to premarital counseling, a professional premarital counseling, go for one. I'm sure that would help to put a lot of things in perspective for you. So it's intentionality. I was just sharing with my husband not too long ago how that. So I read on my phone, he reads on his phone. So getting to tell our daughter to read her manual books becomes difficult. So yes, we have manual books. So what we do is when she's home, we try to read manual books alongside so she can see that, okay, we are actually reading books. You can't explain that you are reading your book on your phone. She just assumes that you are surfing the net, you know, you are just scrolling. So it's intentionality basically. So if your home must work, even if he's not scrolling on his phone now, he might scroll on his phone when you get married and it will still be a distraction. So all of those things border around the issues of being intentional in your marriage, the kind of home that you want. So once you people have arrived at your vision, what do we want from this marriage, then you now need to begin to put in strategy. And that's where intentionality comes in. Yeah, that'll be all. Thank you.
I'm wondering if I could add to that, maybe Sola. Is that okay? Thank you so much, Fidelia, for that insightful response. I just wanted to add something because it bothers me if someone is in a relationship, you are just in a relationship or you're not even yet married and you're already being distracted with another partner, which is your phone. Because because the way our life is now, phones have easily become people's companion, right? And you are bringing me into your life of companionship. And so if I feel like I'm not able to connect with you, then what are we even doing? And we are just in the dating stage where it's supposed to be like shacking us in quotes. We should want to spend time together. So it begs the question of what's the foundation of their friendship? What are their shared interests?
Yeah.
What could be the reason? It's not just that he's using the phone. Why is he using the phone? Is it that they don't have enough to talk about? Or is it that they don't have enough shared interest or intellectual and connectivity to be able to discuss on several things? Because if we're sitting down together, we should be able to be having conversations. And I'll also advise, if you are in that kind of situation, have an open, honest conversation with the person now. Don't wait until things have gone out of hand. It's something that you need to decide on and decide on it now, how you want to be able to handle that part of it. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, I think I should add to what my wife. My name is Matthew. Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Boro. Thank you, Bimisola. To what my wife talked. Sometimes, as somebody that deals with people with addiction, sometimes it could be that this partner has a phone addiction that he has not sorted out, and then that addiction is causing an emotional gap. It's causing connection gap between these two partners, and maybe the male or the female does not even know that there's a gap. So I think first we need to identify if this is an addiction problem. Then if it's an addiction problem, we'll now begin to talk about how to deal with this problem. Then if it's not an addiction problem, then both of them need to sit down and discuss. It's like we are two in this relationship. You are in love with me and you are in love with your device. We need to now talk about how to manage this situation. Do you want our marriage to become marriage where we both are in the house and we are not even communicating, we are not talking to each other, we are not present, even though we are physically together, but we are not present? We need to now iron it, because basically the most important thing you need to do in relationship is talking. You need to talk and talk and talk and talk and talk, because it is communication that continually brings your proximity, and your proximity continually increase your level of attraction to each other. So if you don't talk, if there's no communication, that means if you are communicating with your phone, you have proximity with your phone, and you are deviating from your partner, then you are not ready for a relationship. So if it's an addiction problem, we need to deal with the addiction. Then if it's not an addiction problem, the partners need to discuss what the challenge is and they solve it together. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I was going to ask that, is that not a red flag when you are addicted to your phone? But thank you for the contributions so far. All right, so I believe we are learning a lot, especially the person that sent in that question. So you know what to do now. All right, so let's move on to the next question. How can an outspoken person manage disagreements in a relationship with an extreme reserved person that is not expressive? So okay, so I want us to remember that we have two couples here as guests, the Boros and the Femi Adedoyin. So anyone can choose, to answer the question, but this question is to the Boros now. So how can an outspoken person manage disagreements in a relationship with an extreme reserved person that is not expressive?
Mrs. B, you want to go? Okay, so
You can go ahead.
Yeah, that's a recipe for conflict, right? And disagreements, of course. When somebody's outspoken and the other person is reserved. But the thing is that you have to look at, why do we disagree? Disagreement happens in relationship, in marriage. You must not agree all the time. Okay? And for you to say you are outspoken, that is who you have become. I always say, when I ask people, who are you? They tell me, this is who I have become. Okay? If you look at, there are reasons why you are the way you are, and there are reasons why your partner is the way he is. If it's the one that is reserved, there are reasons why he's that way, and there are reasons why you are the way you are. Now, for there not to be friction, you have to be able to communicate your point clearly. What are you trying to achieve by having conversations that lead to disagreement? Okay, you have to be able to communicate and understand. You need to know who you are dealing with. And especially, I think my wife were having the chat. You need to have a communication plan in that kind of scenario. If you have somebody who's outspoken and the other person is reserved, the both of you need to come up with a communication plan, not when there's a heated argument, but when everything is calm. Understanding the both of you, you need to come up with a communication plan. This is who I have become by virtue of my experience. I'm not comfortable with people shouting at me. This is how I tend to react when there's a disagreement. So you understand that. This is how I would like to be spoken to when there's a disagreement. Okay? And the other person, I'm outspoken. This is what you will get from me if there's a disagreement. And these things has to be known even in relationship phase. Don't wait until you are married. So that you know, because you see, love is many things. Love in itself is amazing. But I always say that marriage does not work between two good people. It's between two empowered people. If you're not empowered, you don't even know your spouse. So you can't treat them well. And knowing somebody is not in the length of time. It's in the degree of openness. You can be with somebody and don't know them if you are not open. So you must be able to communicate. This is how or who I've become. This is how I respond to issues. Okay. So some people, for instance, they know their spouse already when the voice is high. They know that that's how she is. Okay, they just know that because they're working with the person by knowledge. So have a communication plan. Let the person know this is how I express, such that the person will not think that, oh, you are either degrading them or shouting at them because you're outspoken. That is how you are. That's how expressive you are. And when the other person goes into their own shell, that's how you react. But the caveat is this. Like I said, this is how you have become. Doesn't mean you should remain that way every time. I will tell you, right? When I've changed a whole lot. I mean a whole lot. And one place you should not enter if you are not ready for change is marriage. If you're not ready to, because it's becoming one, right? And so there has to be a lot of blending. So if you're not ready to change, if you're not ready to morph for the benefit of your marriage, then you're not ready. Okay, so you can't be outspoken forever in disagreements. You should learn and you should choose the path of growth. You cannot be entering your shell every time there's a disagreement. Okay, you should learn to be able to communicate. I used to have that tendency early on. When I'm upset, I just, withdraw. But I discovered that it wasn't helping me at all, because you can't allow a vacuum. You can't allow silence. Let me just say this in passing, right? You could accept it or not. I felt that, Adam was too far away. That's why the serpent had such long conversation with Eve. That conversation was too long. That was my own. I said, man, if I leave my wife and go solo for too long, she may be interpreting something else, another voice, she will have her own conclusions. Okay, so I cannot be that reserved person forever. So I had to be, to able to come out and speak and air my own view. So I think with a bit of knowing one another and your choice to grow and evolve, I think it begins to get better, right? That's what I just wanted to add to this. I don't know if that answers the person's question.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think I would just want to add something to just say that if you realize that you are outspoken and your spouse is or your partner is pretty reserved, it's a good thing if you are aware of your personality types and how you're able to express yourself or how your behavior within conflict. So if you are outspoken and the person that you are with is pretty reserved, you want to now know how to effectively communicate with the person, because there has to be some level of compromise. Yes, there will be time where we should, because I believe that the outspoken person is probably confrontational, is a confrontational type, and then the reserved person is non-confrontational. So we have to be able to determine which disagreements do we want to confront head on at times, and then which disagreement actually truly need some time, because sometimes withdrawal too is not bad, and sometimes withdrawal is not contemptuous. It's just maybe the person has evaluated, the scenario, and it's like, I think it's better so I don't say something out of the ordinary. So let's not always think that when someone is reserved in communication, it means that the person is trying to be malicious. Some people can be malicious, but sometimes some people just want to be able to process things in a way that they are trying to have, my husband does it a lot, internal conflicts, internal conversations within themselves, so they don't end up escalating issues. So that person also, you have to be able to know how to self-regulate, because at the end of the day, you always have to prioritize your goal. What do you want to achieve in that conversation? Do you want to win, or do you want to come into an understanding and a way forward for your relationship? I think that having that kind of mindset would also help.
Thank you very much for that. All right, so I would like to ask the Femi Adedoyins, to tell us about communication, putting this into considerations, because I have a couple of questions on communication, how to improve communication between the two partners, how to engage in difficult conversations such that you don't become too defensive, and then how to probably like resolve issues without resentment. So I want us to speak to the people in the house this evening on communication and then putting all of these things into consideration.
Okay.
Okay.
For communication, one of the things I tell people is that you cannot not communicate. Even your silence is communication. You cannot not communicate. So, in improving communication, we must understand that whatever issue is at home, you must understand that you are a team, and the goal of every team is to win. Now, if you're having conversation, let's say difficult conversation, the first thing you should put at the back of your mind that is that we are not the problem. The issue is not us. So we need to discuss the issue. So instead of telling your partner, you always do this, it could be that you judge, you evaluate every conversation based on ecology and context. What does that mean? Um, Evaluate every conversation based on the context and the environment where every issues happen. You should not go back to yesterday conversation, day before yesterday conversation, last year conversation, and conclude that your partner and form a conclusion about your partner. That means you are making the issue about your partner and not about the issue. So in having conversation, the first question you need to ask yourself is, this conversation we are having, are we looking for who is right or we are looking for what is right? If you are looking for who is right, it means that even if it's going to cost you the peace of your home, you are just trying to justify that I am the right person here. But if you are looking for what is right, irrespective of who is saying what is right, the both partner will sit down and agree that, okay, this is right. My wife is the person that have said what is right, and we are going to follow suit. So in conversation, it is not just about you. It is about the situation. It's about the context. It's about the ecology. And you must understand that you must always communicate. You must always converse. You must always have something to discuss. So no matter how difficult it is, you cannot shy away from it. Because it is even in conversation you get to know yourself even more. It is in conversation you get to express yourself. So first thing in having difficult conversation, stay on the issue, not on the person. Then you must listen to understand. You don't necessarily have to listen to win. You must listen to understand. And when emotions arise, you need to pause. No, because your partner is not your enemy. The problem you're having is the enemy. So you deal with the problem, not with your partner. Then you must manage your tones. You must manage your tone. How do you handle this situation? What kind of tonality are you using in having difficult conversation? And you must understand that even withdrawal is a form of communication. Therefore, in a situation where one partner is withdrawing from the other, you need to now structure yourself. So how do we handle this thing? Silence will not help us, even though silence is a form of communication, but it's not going to help our relationship. So how do we handle a situation where one person keep quiet and the other person is the one expressing themselves, and the person expressing themselves begin to question his or her sanity? Am I the mad person here? Why is he quiet in this relationship? Why is he silent? So you must understand that all of these dynamics, the withdrawal and all of these things, you need to sit down. The moment you have agreed to get married, you cannot be silent on your partner. So you may decide to say, okay, I need to go and clear my head for some minutes, but you need to discuss. You need to have a conversation. No matter how difficult, you do not need to say because I said even silence is communication. You now completely go silence on your partner. Silence, maybe you are processing your emotion. You don't want to say what you will regret, but at the end of the day, you need to sit down and have that conversation, no matter how difficult it may be. And you must create an emotional safety net for your partner. Create an emotional safety net where I can express myself without being judged. I can express myself without making me feel guilty. It is when there's emotional safety net that your partner will want to communicate. Then most importantly, you must listen attentively. There's something called active listening. Sometimes you may be hearing and you're not listening. So you need to listen attentively to your partner, to what is being said and what is not being said. Then finally, before I will give it to my wife to continue from where I stop, you should ask yourself, in our conversation, are we intentional? Are we intentional with what we want to achieve in this conversation? if there's no intentionality in the things that you're doing, there won't be intentionality in your marriage, because how you do one thing is how you do everything. If you do not communicate properly, you will not do other things properly in your marriage. Baby girl, over to you, ma'am.
All right, thank you so much for laying that foundation. So I'll just say that I have seen this situation a couple of times, and where one of the one party is literally keeping malice, right? And it becomes very difficult for the other person and really frustrating. So I will start by saying that something that I have heard my mentor say a lot, that no one person can build a marriage that another person has vowed to destroy, right? So it starts with the desire to make that marriage work by the two people involved. So let's assume we're having an issue, which is always going to happen. I mean, in a marriage, for people that are married, you know that you have to keep going through issues. You have to keep working your way around issues, right? So communication is one of those issues that needs to be dealt with. So I would just say that one way that I have explored that works is also the strategy of open day, right? Having open days where you set aside to have these conversations, difficult conversations. It could be once a week, it could be however often you want it to be. So when you have those days, what you want to do is that you want to set ground rules. Some of the ground rules are that you cannot get angry, you have to listen, be attentive. So that's the day for we listen, we don't judge, right? You have to listen attentively and, hear what the other person is saying, and then decide to act upon what has been said in that meeting and see how you can make adjustments. So again, it depends on how badly you want that marriage to work. So that's it.
Thank you so much for that.
Sorry, it always looks
Okay.
like I have something to say, but I just wanted to add, because when you were talking about you have seen where people, will go and keep malice and all of that, I would always also advise for the spouse who is on the receiving end, like you always feel like your spouse is withdrawing or keeping malice, and you have tried, and this spouse is not open to this open day, doesn't want to learn the communication. I would beg you to find a way to protect your own emotion, your own self, because there's a way silent treatment can begin to build on, create rejection, self-rejection, resentment and all of that. So you need to be able to protect your own self. So in a moment where those things are happening, you need to build a coping mechanism, not because you approve of what the partner is doing, but because you have to also protect yourself, so that on the long run, if that partner, by the grace of God or by some miracle, receives sense and is ready to now walk through it, you have not lost your own self. Because there are times where a partner has now seen the light and now wants to now reconcile, but the other person has already lost all their emotional strength. So you also want to be able to protect yourself, protect your peace by doing things that you love, engaging in activities that make you feel fulfilled, in that period, so that you don't lose yourself in the process of waiting for the person to communicate. Yeah.
Thank you very much. And I must say, that's not really a good place to be. And that's why most of us are here to learn, so that we can avoid all of these things, avoid things that would emotionally drain us, that will be drained emotionally. So put into consideration all the things you have been hearing, so that you can choose rightly, so that you don't have to deal with all this stress. All right. Someone said here, he said, is it okay? Is it normal to not have very lovey-dovey moments in a relationship? And how does one navigate in such times? So I think we are looking at the love language here. So I'll throw the question to the borrowers. Is it normal not to have, that romantic romantic moment in relationships? And is it okay? And how do you navigate that in such times? And you can also talk to us about the love language. I'm sure there are so many questions on that area too. Love language of your partner. So the borrowers.
I'm not saying you are muted. You want me to go?
Yes, please go
Okay.
ahead. Go ahead. I'll come up to you.
So, if I understand the question well, is it normal to not have lovey-dovey moments? I think for me, I would ask like, what's the frequency of the non-lovey-dovey moments? Because I believe, and that's for me, I believe that at least in one day there should be lovey-dovey moments. I don't know whether the person is coming in the context of, oh, there will be rent, there will be school fees, so it's not even said that we're all lovey-dovey and all of that, right? But I always want to say that in your relationship, you must not go a day without at least a goodbye hug, a welcome hug, handhold, something that just connects you. And for me, that's lovey-dovey. No matter how little, depends on what you are defining as lovey-dovey. Would you say lovey-dovey is only when you're able to go out on dates? Or lovey-dovey is only when you're able to share a good laugh together? So what is lovey-dovey to you? But if you say, can a couple go on for 2 days, 3 days, 1 week without lovey-dovey moments, it begs an underlining question. Like, so what is the health? What's the relationship? What's the marital or relationship health of that of those persons involved? Because I believe, except there are serious issues that are going on, maybe you have financial issues or there are issues that are threatening to, fight your emotional connection. And so you can understand that you people are dealing with something. But where there's no like serious issues at hand, but people are not able to connect, and you're able to go days, and you're able to go weeks, and you're able to go months without lovey-dovey moments, whatever that means to you, then it shows that there is an underlying issue of probably love language, emotional back, right? So you said we should talk about love language. So it's important that every spouse knows each other's love language, quality time. Is it acts of service? Is it gifts? Is it words of affirmation? What is your spouse's love language? It's very, very, in fact, the test, you can have it with a coach, you can have it online, you can have it anywhere, but it's important that while there are people that might appreciate all the love languages, there will always be that one that really just does it for you, as in that just makes your emotions, come alive and more endearing towards your partner. So is it that you are not speaking your love language enough, or you're not even sharing any kind of, lovey-dovey moments, so to speak, in your relationship? So if it's something that you are having issues, maybe not personal issues, but you are trying to resolve something within your family, and then you don't really have the time for lovey-dovey and all of that, because every time you communicate, you're trying to see how you can resolve those issues. And I'll say, okay, maybe it's just for that season. But if there is no even when there are underlying issues, right, you should still be able to have lovey-dovey moments, because that's how you can go on as a human being. If not, you're going to lose your mind. I remember when we suffered a loss in my family, I and my husband. That was one of the most difficult times in our homes. But it didn't stop us from having lovey-dovey moments, because we were, as in, we're all we had for each other to support each other through that situation we're going through. So it didn't stop us, even if it wasn't as lovey-dovey as we would want, but it didn't stop us from creating moments that at least made us feel, in tune with one another and connect as a couple, right? So it's not normal per se, but depending on the context on which it is happening. Yeah, so
Okay,
honey,
thank you. I think that was fantastic, right? I just want to add, just in case it's a question directed at someone you love so much, then all of a sudden you're feeling a kind of way towards that person, maybe because of the person's action. So you don't have these butterflies in your tummy again. You don't just feel, you're not just feeling in love, as it were. Okay. First of all, I'd like to say that this lovey-dovey should be your default mood. Okay. Everyone wants to be loved. Okay. And you must position yourself to both be loved and to love. Okay. And I think that was your concept or idea in the first place of getting married, right? So you want to continually have that feeling you used to have while you were dating, that in rush. You want to always see the person. You want to always be around the person. And that's the mindset. That's how you want to always feel. Okay. Now, the person is probably acting in a way where you are no longer feeling that way again. Okay. But what I want to say is this. Now, if you find yourself in that position, please understand that it's for a season. I always say this. You see a seed, right? A seed can be available for all seasons, but it doesn't grow in all seasons. Okay? Now, there are seasons of your life where issues will happen. Okay? And children may come, and she doesn't have the time, because some of these things are connected to time. Okay? And moments. Seasons may come, and probably your wife is now having to do, or the both of you, kids are coming. There's a shift there. Okay? But it's for a season. Don't lose your substance, right? With respect to changing seasons. Okay? Those seasons may change. Don't lose your substance. And your substance is your seed, that seed of love you have on your inside. And one of the ways that will help you not to lose it is the memories you have built. You can go back to those memories of beautiful times. They can pull you through moments you are no longer feeling lovey-dovey. Okay? So my wife may not be available because she's occupied doing stuff. I just go to my memory bank and think of those days where we hold hands, we take a stroll, moments that we have built together. That strengthens me to go through that season and enter into my next phase of lovey-dovey again. Because it can happen. Time can happen. Distance can happen. Okay? And so please, whatever memories you have to create now, create them well. File them in your emotional bank. Those things will help you go through seasons where looks like life is happening and you don't have that lovey-dovey moment again. Keep your seed, keep your substance, which is love. Let your love for that person not drain. This is only happening for you and not to you. And just as I think it's Mr. Matthew that said so, face the issues and not the person, right? Ensure that your love for that person is intact. I just wanted to add that. Thanks.
Thank you so much for that. I believe the person would have been able to get an answer to our question. All right, so I have this one, and I want us to actually deal with this. It says, how do I become financially independent after many years of emotional abuse from my husband? Although I am still in the marriage, I feel worthless. How do I become financially independent after many years of emotional abuse from husband? Although I'm still in the marriage and I feel worthless. All right, so the Femi Adedoyin, this, can you react to that?
Okay, let me just go first. Then my husband can come in. So I would say that this is a case that is quite common. And if you ask me, it's probably and very likely has something to do with abuse, sometimes verbal, right? So how do you gain financial stability and probably a lot of other things that you have lost, like your self-worth, right? I would say that just like Mrs. Boro said, you need to find a coping mechanism, and the coping mechanisms I would suggest would be for you to begin to focus on self-development, focus on developing yourself. Good enough, we are in a world that, a lot is happening online. You can achieve so much, through your phone. So I think that's something that can be maximized. So self-development, by all means, pick up a skill. These days, what is it called? IT skills are most sought after, and they are skills that you can get online. So yes, find a skill. That's the first thing. Secondly, aggressively engage in self-development. Then the third thing I would suggest is that you get a circle of friends. It doesn't have to be 10 friends. It could just be 2, 3. Or get a community that can be a safety net. I think that's one very good way to cope when facing these kind of difficult times. Because when you are alone, the things that you are facing tend to get to you more easily. So have that community where you can slide into every now and then, where you can be in, where you can be spoken to in a way that grows you, in a way that nourishes you, that causes you to flourish, right? So these are the three things I would suggest for this person. There's really nothing we can do about it right now, but when you interact with people, that's when you find out about opportunities. That's when you know what's going on in the world. So yes, you need that space, that safe space, where you can interact with other people that are outside of that relationship that you have. So I'll stop here and let my husband take over.
Thank you very much.
Okay. I think my wife have said practically everything I would say on this. There's nothing that beats you reinventing yourself. So you just need to reinvent yourself, then build a network of people that would help you. Network of people that will help you build your identity, then develop skills. Because if you stay down, you remain down. But if you attempt to stand up, that's when there will be opportunity, nature and universe will conspire to help you stand up. So what you need to do is reinvent yourself, build yourself, and begin to see that that a part of your life failed doesn't mean you have failed. And see failure as a feedback.
Yeah.
Failure is simply a feedback. It doesn't define your life. So, and when you see failure as a feedback, you pick lessons from it. So why did this thing fail? These are the lessons I can learn from this failure, and these are the things I will do going forward. So then, when you see failure as feedback, you learn skills, you reinvent yourself, you build your identity again, and in doing all of these things, you see that in no time, you will find yourself in a good position that it should be. And you will not allow one situation or one setback to define your life. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that response. Well, from all these questions, it's clear that a lot of people want to know more about communication, communicating rightly, choosing the right partner, knowing the love language, and of course, financial independence. And of course, if we'll stay here for till the next 2 hours, we can't exhaust all of these questions. And I believe there is always room for learning and development. So before we round up tonight, I don't know if there is anyone in the house that has a question. I can see Goodness saying, can I ask my questions here? So if you are here and there's a question you want to ask any of our guests tonight, you can raise up your hand or drop it in the chat section. In the next 1 minute, please. Any question that has not been touched tonight? Any area that you want us to talk about? Any question? All right. So if there is none, I would like the borrowers to just, give us a parting message to everyone in the room tonight on how to you can cut across communication, choosing rightly, and of course the love language. What is that message you want to leave with them tonight? Divorce.
All right. So before I give my final message, I just want to just delve back a bit, and I really appreciate their Dedois for their response to the question about the person who wanted to build financial independence in an abusive atmosphere. And while they are saying all of these things, somebody might be asking, what would be the benefit of personal development, knowing my identity, putting myself in a community? But the truth is that it has answered the question of how to gain financial independence, because financial independence, when you want to make money, you want to be able to give value. And when you want to give value, you have to be able to sell yourself even before the product or service that you are selling. And so it's important that you are able to believe in yourself again, know yourself again, and trust your capacity to do certain things even before you can begin to demand people to buy anything from you, whether it's in service or in product. So you don't, first of all, start by just going to make money. Like they have said, you have to invest in your own self first before you can now begin to think of how to now bring value to your world and how to solve other people's problems, of course, because that's how you make money. So that's just my take on that. So if you're talking about any final relationship advice, well, the core thing I like to always tell people is that give yourself to learning and growth, and just allow yourself to learn the things that you don't know, because we have journeyed through life, and many of the times the things that we have picked up along the way don't really aid the direction of our life, how we're actually destined to go, right? So it's important that at a point in your life, you give yourself to unlearning certain things and learning what you know can be profitable on your journey, because why I say that and I talk about individuals is because many times I realize that people want to only begin to do better when they're in a relationship, and that doesn't actually work. Why don't you just be better for being a good human sake? Because I always feel like if you can commit to being a good person, a good human being, as you are given to learning, you know how to treat people, you value people, it will be easier for you to demonstrate the same in a relationship. But sometimes people don't care about their personal development. They don't care about, the value of people until they are now in a relationship, and then they want to now start learning how to communicate, learning how to be codependent with someone else. But there's always time to learn things, and however time you put yourself to learning, you will grow. And when you grow, you are a better person. And when you're a better person, you are a better partner, or better team player, right? So that will always be my advice: and commit yourself to learning. Be humble enough to accept that you don't know it all, and you need to grow in the areas that you have identified or are willing to identify.
Amazing. So finally from me is destination defines process, right? Have a clear destination of where you are going, or have a clear vision of your destination. It defines process. A wise man called Maspero says, vision chooses your friends, okay? It has the ability to also choose your partner. Have a clear destination or a clear picture of the home and the family you want to build. As a young boy from a family in crisis, let me use that word, I was determined that I was going to build a home that would influence others. And that single choice and clear vision that I have is determining every choice I make, including my reaction, right? And so if you have a clear destination and you find the partner willing to journey with you to achieve that, it will keep you in a regulated environment, right? And there is nothing as beautiful as that. Without vision, there is no control. Anything goes, right? So please have a clear vision of where you are headed. And trust me, marriage is God's idea. And God did not design marriage to destroy you. Marriage was not supposed to make you better, or you say, I was better when I was single. No, it's to aid you in your journey to becoming. So choose that path, right? Choose that path. Is honorable, and everything that is required for you to thrive in marriage, God has made available through all these resources. And just like my wife said, take advantage of it. Ensure you are learning every day and you become better. As I said, it's not between two good people, it's between two empowered people. So choose to be empowered. Thanks.
Thank you so much to the Boras. Thank you for that wonderful contribution. Thank you for sharing your wealth of knowledge with us. And talking about investing in yourself, just like they have mentioned, we have additional resources to support you. You need to invest in yourself. You need to learn more. And one of them is the marital assessment, which is going for 150,000 naira, a comprehensive couples assessment designed to provide deep insights into your relationship. Now, what are you going to get in this package? You're going to get your detailed marital assessment, your personalized result report, and debriefing sessions for couples. So it's something you want to take advantage of, by investing in yourself. We also have the Unbroken Bundle, which is going for just 20,000 naira, which is a powerful recovery and restoration resource for couples. And this bundle includes Unbroken Book and 40 Days Marital Recovery Manual. You can always get this on the link in the chat box. All right. All right. So I would like to call on the Femi Adedoyis to give us a parting note tonight, something for people to go back with in their relationship and their marital life.
Okay, so let me go first. Thank you so much. It's been an amazing time here with the Boros. I've gained a lot from them also. So I would like to say that marriage is a healthy marriage is made by two whole people. And that means that growth is inevitable. Intentionality is inevitable. So the idea of working towards a goal, the idea of creating a home that is peaceful, that is sorry, that's what I'm looking for, but a home that is thriving, right? Must be that the two parties are ready to grow and become. If that is not the case, then there is a real problem. So I'm also going to say very quickly to those, I don't know if there are people who are not married here, but if you are not married, I would appeal to you that you ensure that before you get married, you go for premarital counseling. So that is, for me, that's really key, because there are some things that we can't say everything in sessions like this, but when you go for a proper premarital counseling session, everything will be broken down for you. Now, for those who are married and are probably having a season of turbulence, I would say that, first of all, you need to realize that marriage is not your entire life. Yes, marriage is really important and probably one of the most important aspects of your life, but marriage is not the entirety of your life. So the fact that you are having turbulence in your marriage does not define you, doesn't mean that you are, a bad person or you are a failure. So you just need to understand that there's always a way to strategize. There's always a way to navigate around these things. And when you come to gatherings like this, you get more knowledge on how that should happen. You could also seek counseling too. So yeah, those are my final words for tonight.
Thank you so much. Okay.
I will just add that any information that cannot transform you is a waste of your time. So, and how information can transform you is when you put them into practice. So everything you've heard tonight, go back home, go back to your jotter, then begin to practice it. Practice, 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 practice. If you do not practice, this 1 hour plus would have just been a waste of your time and our time. So for us not to have waste our time and for you not to have waste your time joining us here, just go home, practice. Then ask yourself, what should I start doing with this information? What should I stop doing with this information? Start doing what you need to start doing, then stop doing what you need to stop doing. And I believe with that, you will experience life-changing transformation. Thank you.
Thank you so much to the Femi Adedoyis. Thank you so much for blessing us with your wealth of knowledge this evening. We appreciate you. It's been an awesome time. And I believe every one of us have learned one or two things. And just like he said, you have to go back home to practice. If you don't practice, then it's just a waste of time. And I need us to understand that the system that governs marital bliss can be learned. And some of them you have learned from this session. And for you to even learn further and to really understand this further, because you have had them say that you can't learn everything during this session. And I would encourage you, there's a link on the chat box for you to follow for more. If you want to learn more, you want to understand the system that actually governs marital bliss, you can click on this link and then you'll meet up the other side. So I want to appreciate everyone. Thank you once again to the viewers for coming tonight. Thank you, Femi Adedoyis. We are so blessed to have you. And I'm sure everyone here have learned one or two things. You're not going back the same. You have learned a lot and you are going back to implement. You are going back to practice. You are going back to become a better person by actually putting things to work in your life. So I'll go over this again. Remember, we have the marital assessment, which is just for 150,000 naira. I believe it has been subsidized for the purpose of this meeting, and it's going to be a comprehensive one. You're going to have your detailed marital assessment, your personalized reports, debriefing session for couples, and of course, for singles and engaged couples, you can also take the unbroken bundle, which is a powerful recovery and restoration resource for you. So I would encourage you to click on the link, on the link right there to subscribe. So thank you very much for coming tonight. I'm sure you have been blessed. Yes. So thank you so much. I want to appreciate everyone for coming. I want to appreciate everyone for participating tonight. And I wish you all a blissful marital life. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you so much, Bemisola.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everyone.
It was good to see you,
Good night.
Fidelia, and your husband.
Yeah,
Thank you so
same
much,
here.
guys. Yeah.
Okay.
Same
Bye,
here.
everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.